When people talk, listen, man, I'm going to raise that red flag.
This narrative, especially after 1 year, one bad year, it's one big splash move. And because I don't think people understand how much cap space we can create.
Alex, I want to ask you, because you're a very humble person.
And I'm never going to be right about anything.
Yeah.
I was right.
What's up, y'all? It's me again. I'm back in the building. That's kind of weird. I hope everybody's doing good. Yo, great time to be a Panthers fan, man. It's been freaking amazing watching like national media talk about the Panthers and just the Panthers fans in general kind of rallying behind this team finally. And I completely agree with why. Like, if I had to articulate it, is that we got competence in the front office. And I don't even want to say competence because I think that's why we are excited, because we haven't been competent. But I honestly 100% think that this is a top 10 front office in the NFL. The overall, and I feel like people are missing out on if people just like look at the draft and what the draft is. But the overall, what they did, and if you've been listening to what they've said, is we want to be patient. We want to make the right decisions. They've been aggressive but smart. They were in the DK sweepstakes. I'm just telling you that because I know that. But they didn't. They had a number that they were at, and they said that's where we're standing. And if they go for more, if DK goes for more than that, good for him. We have Plan B, Plan C, Plan D, so on, so on, so on. Same thing with Milton Williams. Hey, Patriots, if you want to overpay, you want to overpay. We have a Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, Plan D. And they do. And they did. And it's so fun. It's just so much better to be a Panthers fan when you just like who is in the is making the calls. And I gotta give credit to everyone. I gotta give credit to David Tepper. And we really do. We need to stop putting David Tepper in the way we put him previously. David Tepper has done what good ownership should do. I literally am an owner now, and I'm buying a business, and I want to be like what he is. I want to make sure I make the hire that I trust and empower those hires. And then we look at a big sample size and we say, it doesn't look like it made sense for us, but I gave you every opportunity. Or I gave you every opportunity and you succeeded. And what it looks like is that, one, he really did go out and hire a firm to find these guys. It's literally like he was looking to change the way his process worked because he wanted to win. And man, kudos to him, because he found good talent in the front office and the coaching staff, from my opinion, and you can just see the results. I really think that we need to tip our hat to him, just being willing to change. I was with everybody else. I hated the guy. I really did. I was like, this guy's the reason that we're a terrible organization. But he was willing to change, and man, it is paying off. And you can just see all the Panther fans are happier. All the national media is jumping on our bandwagon. It's so nice to even though we haven't won anything yet. It's just so nice, the momentum and the positivity that's going on in our fan base. That actually has nothing to do with what I want to talk about, though. What I want to talk about today, because I think that I need to, because here's what I mean, if you follow me, if you watch me, you know how I approach everything. I approach everything from a I try to approach everything from a non-fan point of view. I sometimes use analytics and numbers. Sometimes I use when people talk, listen, and just trying to fight through media narratives to give whoever's listening a actual conclusion that makes sense, that makes logical sense. And so far, when I do that the correct way, and here's what sucks is that I was, if you listen to my January and February episodes, man, I was spot on. I was spot on. But then I'm opening this restaurant. I didn't have the time to do the same research. I got lazy and I let the media kind of impact my narrative because I mean I was in January. I said because historical data says we never get free agents or big time trades, we're not going to, and we did it. So we need to find a way to give Bryce a big time receiver because year 3 you have to. And I said the only way to do that is through the draft. We have to pick a wide receiver at 8, which is what we did because it makes the most sense. If it's a deep draft, you say, if it's a deep draft for edge and we know we need edge, then you're like, oh, so it's a weak draft for wide receiver, but it's a deep class for edge. Supply and demand. So the cost is going to be higher for the thing that's in more demand, which is wide receiver, and the cost is going to be lower for the thing that's in less demand, which was edge. So the cost that we spent for a wide receiver is first round pick. Cost we spent for edge is the second round and third round pick. I kind of break down the brilliance of them in my previous episodes, so I'm not going to go too far into the actual draft. But what I want to talk about is because it does affect so much of what I do is narratives from the media. And narratives from the media drive our point of view so much because we're so dependent on knowledge because we want to have those conversations, right? We want to have those debates. We want to have that interaction with other fans, with whoever. And what happens is what we've done as a society and what the media has done for us is they made you first take to this. They make you pick a side. They make you pick a definite side. And one debate that is I'm over. I will never have this debate for as long as I live ever again is the LeBron Jordan argument. It's getting ridiculous at this point. If there's nothing else to talk about, people want to talk about LeBron versus Jordan. Guys, how much? If you've had that debate, just think about it. Just stop and think about how much of your life has been wasted with a LeBron versus Michael Jordan debate. And when you've had that debate, how many times has your thought changed? And how many times have you changed other people's mind? My guess is 0 and 0. Because people are so opinionated about that, and they're only going to, this is what it's always going to come down to, 6 for 6 in the finals. LeBron's only 4 and 11 in the finals. Jordan got 5 and 6. I don't even know how many MVPs he has. Never been to Game 7. LeBron, you look at he's a more complete player. Look at he's 40 and still doing this. I've been in those rooms before. I get it. I understand. But what we listen to all the time is the media telling us this. So we have become experts in the LeBron Jordan debate, and we're so ready. We're so ready to show our expertise in this is why Jordan's better. This is why LeBron's better. We're so ready to have that conversation, even though, what's your goal? At the end of the day, what's your goal? Intellectually, I've never changed anybody's mind about the LeBron Jordan debate. I've never won the debate. I've never looked smart in the debate because no matter if somebody's willing to have that debate with you, they think they're just as smart as you are on the other end of that debate. So either you both think Jordan's the best and you're just, okay, you're just talking about how Jordan's the best. That's not interesting. Or you're having the same It's freaking Groundhog Day, and you're having the same debate over and over again because you're an expert. Which, for anyone else, is so boring. It's so boring. Like, just, if you do that, don't have the debate anymore. Just don't do it. It's just so boring. It's like, anybody that ever asked me who I think the GOAT is, I always say Tim Duncan. One, because I think that he has an argument. I honestly do. But people just aren't ready to have that debate yet. Because they're so willing to be like, you're going to say LeBron or Kobe or like, you know, and I'm ready to debate that. You know, if I say Tim Duncan, they're like, what? So anyway, moving on from that. So the best way to start this is to talk about Shedeur Sanders, which I really, really, really do not want to do. I really do not want to have that conversation. Everyone that I've had this conversation with that matters never thought Shedeur was a first-round pick, didn't think Shedeur was a second-round pick. Panthers Post had a scout on that said he thought that Shedeur was graded as an undrafted free agent. He didn't think he was good. But, and I've had this conversation with a few people that are relatively good at this. Either they work in this space or I just trust their opinion on this stuff. Almost all of them have said that Shedeur isn't great. Like, he's just not great. He's just like not that good. But why do we think that? And it's because whoever we follow or whoever we trust in the national media has told us this. So we have Mel Kiper, who works for ESPN. Mel Kiper's been doing this for 40 years. 50 years. I have no idea. A long time. And he thinks Shedeur is the second best prospect. I don't remember what he said. At least the second best quarterback. And as he falls, he blows up. He's like, "This is crazy. This is the biggest fall of the century. This is the craziest thing we've ever seen." Even though I've talked to scouts that said this guy's an undrafted, should go undrafted. Mel Kiper, if he hasn't gotten anybody within these organizations that he can trust, that can kind of give them any kind of knowledge, any kind of insider information, because that's why we go to these sites, right? That's why we go to these experts, is because they have insider information. So you would think that Mel Kiper would see this coming. And if he didn't, why the hell does he have a job? Because you're not good at it. He's not good. Like, he had Will Levis going ahead of C.J. Stroud at number 2 quarterback, and Will Levis dropped. He had Malik Willis going in the first round. Malik Willis dropped. Like, dude sucks. Like, he's really bad at this. But you would think at least he would have some sort of insider knowledge. Enough that would be like, yo, just so you know, Shedeur's going to drop. Like, just that little bit, Shedeur's going to drop. My thinking is that he did know that. And this is just a play to amp everybody up to create their own narratives. And honestly, they're not creating their own, because it's going to go to the next day, and you know what they're going to talk about? They're going to talk about race, just like they talked about height for Bryce. The media today, all they're trying to do, and I'm really not trying to be a tinfoil hat guy. I really want people to understand this. They create narratives that confirm our inner prejudices, because we all have them. We're all prejudiced in some way, whether it's you're slightly racist, you're slightly sexist, you're whatever it is. You have what you've spent your life doing, and you inherently have created your own prejudices for whatever reason. For whatever reason. It could be somebody being overweight, somebody being too skinny, somebody being too tall, somebody being short. But they understand that you have those internal prejudices, so they're going to try to feed off of that. Who the hell cared about WNBA? Like, who? Who cared about WNBA? Nobody. But you know who has the most rights to the WNBA as far as games? ESPN. And as soon as they get this, all of a sudden, this Angel Reese versus whatever the other girl's name is, I should know it off the top of my head. Oh my God, Caitlin Clark. All of a sudden, there's all these little narratives about white versus black. She's getting preferential treatment because yada, yada, yada. Angel Reese should be, Rookie of the Year, not Caitlin Clark. The whole year, they're the two worst teams in the NBA. WNBA, which no one watches. But you know what we like? We like to hear this internal prejudice that we have that says white versus black, which we already want to have that war, which there is racism. There is racism. There is prejudice of sex, race. We have that data. And that's my point. We want to make sure everything is backed by data and not by narrative. Because when it's backed by narrative, you're muddying your overall point. So when we want to make everything about race, then you're not changing anybody's point of view about race. You're just jerking yourself off. You're trying to be either the liberal person that you are, the conservative person you are, whatever. So I want to go into examples of all of this, right? Because we got to understand that the media outlets that we choose to watch, the national media outlets, which I'm going to use ESPN. I don't want to only pick on ESPN, but I'm going to use ESPN. Fox Sports is the same thing with Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless, they kind of invented it. Just trying to say things that will just dig at somebody, or that will be like, yeah, for somebody, that kind of thing. So we did it with Bryce last year, or when he was drafted. We said he's so small. There's no way that he can be an NFL quarterback because he's so small. Well, you know what? He was the consensus #1 overall pick by teams that hire people to make money based on this. They probably know what they're doing over Chris Sims on whatever he's doing, who's wrong about everything. And that's another thing. The data shows that these people are wrong constantly. Constantly. Mel Kiper's wrong all the time. Chris Sims is wrong all the time. Skip Bayless is wrong all the time. Stephen A. Smith don't know nothing about nothing. They don't have these guys that are on national TV don't have the time to do the research on this stuff. They work for a machine that tells them to talk about these points because it'll get us clicks, it'll get us reactions, and that will make us money. Because then our advertisers, the people that want advertising space on our platform, it'll cause a competition for them, and that price just goes up and up and up because we can show them all these clicks about nonsense, about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, who you don't care about. I don't care about. I've probably watched 3 WNBA games my entire life. I have a daughter now, and she actually does like to watch basketball, so I'm sure I'll watch a lot more. But I don't watch basketball in general just because I used to love NBA. This is another talking point, but I don't know what's a travel anymore. I don't know what's a foul anymore. I don't know I just watched Lakers versus Mavs or Lakers versus Wolves, and it was just like a free throw competition. This is just boring. NBA is boring now. It used to be my favorite sport, and now it just sucks. It's just whatever. That was a rant. That was silly. But let's go back to Bryce Young. We literally in 2019 saw Kyler Murray, who is almost identical height and weight, get drafted number 1. And we did the same thing for him. And he's still a starter in the NFL. And then Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl, 12 years ago, who is a similar height and weight. And he's still a starter in the NFL 12 years ago. But because I can prey on your internal prejudice, I say Bryce Young's too small to be an NFL quarterback, and you accept it. People accept that. Even though we have obvious data, people that are good at this, people that understand this, saw Russell Wilson go to back-to-back Super Bowls. 2013, he won one. Since 2013, he started every single year since as a 5'11 quarterback. We saw 6 years later, Kyler Murray go number 1 overall at 5'10 quarterback, and he's still a starter in the NFL. And then Bryce Young went number 1 overall, and he's still a starter in the NFL. And we still refuse to believe that this can happen, that you can be successful as a short quarterback. Drew Brees was short, won a Super Bowl. Russell Wilson was short, won a Super Bowl. Kyler Murray's into the playoffs. There's no actual data that supports this guy's too small to play, except we would rather just take what the media tells us, because they're experts. They come up with our own opinion about anything. Isaiah Thomas, in an era where Dr. J exists, Magic Johnson existed, Larry Bird existed, Akeem Olajuwon existed. Dude won back-to-back titles and probably should have won 3. Probably should have three-peated. Their team was good enough. And his second best player was Bill Laimbeer, who was the 300th best player of all time. Dude is not even considered. He beat Jordan 2 years in a row, bro. Wasn't on the dream team. Isn't considered one of the top players of all time. Why? Like literally think about that. Because he's small. You'd rather think of him as a small guy rather than this big impact player that carried the bad boy Pistons. Oh, they were bad boy. They were rough and tough. You watch the Celtics in that era? We do this with every single thing we. Let's say, and I don't want to get in a race, but why isn't John Havlicek considered one of the best players of all time? Like top 10. Like, go look at his numbers. Like, honestly, go look at his numbers. Go look at MVPs won, championships won, finals MVPs won. He'll lap everybody except for Bill Russell. Jerry West, the logo. Well, like, everybody pencils in Shaq as top 10 greatest player of all time. In a 3-year run, we won championships with Kobe, who we also think is one of the greatest players of all time. And then he won with Dwayne Wade. He's a great player, but look at his numbers versus somebody like John Havlicek. But Shaq was his big personality, really like dominant. But the powers that be have told us this for so long, who's the greatest players of all time. And we just choose to believe it. And then the argument would either be count the rings or points, or it's all about nobody's going to say I watched them, I saw them play, I had my own judgment based on how I viewed these people. Tim Duncan played with no one. You can say Tony Parker, you can say Ginobili, but like no one. David Robinson, because he was so like dorky. I mean, there's not another word I can think of that I can put in that place. But because he wasn't smooth and like cool and like the way he played, and he didn't talk to the media really, and like it's like no, he isn't as good as Kobe. Well, why not? Got more Finals MVPs, got the same amount of rings, got more MVPs, played with less talent, played with what's considered a worse coach. Because Kobe was cool. He's smooth. He had a cool game. And because the media told us he was. And that's my overall point. And I'm getting off of it. So let me like move back towards where like I was going, because I kind of just spitballed, and I might not even like put a lot of this stuff in to this. But let's go back to Shedeur. Well, it was because of his dad, or because of the hype. Don't no one care about the hype? Like, no one cares. Johnny Manziel still went in the first round. Tim Tebow still went in the first round. Like, the hype doesn't matter. Michael Vick went number 1 overall. Michael Vick went to jail and came back and was a starter. The NFL wants the player that can help their team win. There's no collusion. Mike Green has been accused of sexual assault, and he went in the second round to a good organization. They don't care about problems or about the media or about whatever. They don't care. They want to win football games. Can you help us win football games? That's what they want. Gotta stop leaning into idiotic narratives about this. Because all that happened is this narrative that was created by the media. I spoke to two scouts, and I watched a guy on somebody else's channel. If you don't believe me, go watch Panther Post when they talked to this guy. He said, I have Shedeur Sanders as an undrafted free agent. That's how an NFL scout viewed this guy. But because ESPN said, is it going to be Ward? Is it going to be Sanders? Is he going to the Giants? Is he going to the Saints? Like, they built up this hype just to bring it all down. Just to make you the consumer, upset about it. Which is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And you know what? What's really, really sucks about this is poor Cam Ward. No one has said anything about Cam Ward because everybody's talking about Shedeur. It was the biggest moment of this dude's life. Number 1 overall. Amazing. And the media took it away from him. They took it away from him. They don't even talk about Tennessee. I haven't seen one national media outlet talk about Tennessee at all. Which sucks. Poor dude. And if you want to bring up, I don't know if I want to say. If you want to bring up race, let's say it's about race. The media created this race thing and took a moment away from a black man who got drafted #1 overall. And because we as whatever, and when I say like liberal minded, I don't mean like Democrat versus Republican. I'm not talking political. I'm talking about people that are about equal rights for whatever purposes. And instead of thinking logically about is this an actual thing that I need to care about, or is it just football? Is it just about football? And the data tells you it's always just been about football. You get over and over and over and over and over again. We gotta stop with the racism in football. Maybe coaching, but I think that's a deeper issue. I think that's about we need to get coaches at a smaller level and work their ways up. But because the media wants to talk about head coaches, that's all we like consider. So I'm sorry, I'm kind of like ranting. I'm kind of like because I'm so passionate about that. I hate that the media brings out the worst in us because we as humans, I truly believe that we're good people and that the media is making money by creating narratives that make us upset and make us fight with each other and go to war with each other when we should be talking with one another and trying to find common ground. But it's never going to happen because the media makes us create sides. So let's just talk about if there's anything behind being blackballed by the NFL, like this whole Colin Kaepernick thing. The dude can't play. I'm a Panthers fan. Hunter Renfrow missed 1 season after being a Pro Bowler because he had a disease. And almost every Panther fan that I come in contact with on Twitter, and I'm not talking about like every Panther fan that exists, I'm talking about that comment on anything that I talked about Renfrow, says this dude is washed. This white dude who was a Pro Bowler and missed 1 season because he had a disease is washed. But the media says Colin Kaepernick can't get a tryout because he's black, or you can't get in the league because he's blackballed. But poor Hunter Renfrow is 29 years old and missed 1 season because of a disease is washed and he won't make a team. Like, just think about that narrative. Those two narratives. It's unbelievable. Like, teams want to win. Michael Vick went to jail. If anybody should be blackballed, it would be him. The backlash that Philly probably got with Michael Vick is probably insane. And they still did it because the only way to keep your job in the NFL is to win games. They ain't concerned about blackballing people. They ain't concerned about all this BS that is created by the media. If Dave Canales doesn't win games, he's fired. If anyone doesn't win games, he's fired. And it showed. Kyler Murray in 2019, when he was 5'10", and weighed 207, and he was black. And he went #1 overall. Daniel Jones was 6'5", 230, and white from Duke, and he went 6th. Guys, it doesn't exist. Lamar Jackson fell. He was the 6th quarterback taken off, and he beat out Super Bowl champion Joe Flacco in the middle of the season for the starting job. Jalen Hurts was taken in the 2nd round. Carson Wentz was in the playoff conversation. I mean, the MVP conversation 2 years before, and Hurts took that job. They don't care what race you are. They want to win games. Racism, and this is me saying racism exists. Sexism exists. These things exist, but they don't exist to the extent that we think they do and what the media tells us that exists. Two black quarterbacks played in the Super Bowl this year because they were good. They won the starting jobs and they led their team to the Super Bowl. The last 2 Super Bowl MVPs were both black. It's just unfreaking believable. Actually, 3 of the last 7 quarterbacks to win Super Bowls were black. One of them was 5'11". Steve Nash was 6 foot tall and white in a black man's league. Because I'm saying this as like 75% of NBA players are black, and won 2 MVPs. Isaiah Thomas was 6 foot tall and won 2 championships in a world where Jordan, Magic Johnson, and Larry Bird existed. These are people's lives, their careers. Winning makes you money as an owner. Winning makes you keep your job as a coach, as a GM. It really is unbelievable. Like, even like the whole thing about like coaching. Like, there were 8 new head coaches last year, and 3 were black. 3 of the 8 were black. The year before, 1 of the 5 was black in Ryan's, and it should have been 2, but Flores turned down the Cardinals job. If you're good, you get opportunities. If you are white and you suck, you get fired. Reich got fired because he sucked. Ryan still has a job because he's good. Mike Tomlin still has a job because he's good at his job. And it's all there is to it. It really is. It's and I wish I really don't wish I did this. I wish that I didn't. I'm happy that I don't watch ESPN. I'm happy that I don't watch Fox Sports. I'm happy that I do my own research because I do stuff that's I don't rely on narratives or rely on numbers for everything that I do. But at the end of the day, we're taking away from greatness when we do these things, because when you debate about nonsense and you make it about things that aren't, when you make political issues into sports, which, and I'm telling you, it might exist to a degree, but we've muddied it so much that you can't even pick apart what it is nowadays. You really can't. It sucks. It really does suck, because poor Cam Ward, man. Like, he doesn't get his day in the sun because we're talking about Shador Sanders. Because we need to make it about the media and not about the players. Like, poor dude, man. Like, I really feel bad for him. Like, poor Caitlin Clark. Like, she won a Rookie of the Year. Nobody cares. Because it's always been about her versus Angel Reese. And why she gets the good life and Angel Reese doesn't. Poor Isaiah Thomas. He couldn't play on the Dream Team. You know? Poor Drew Brees never won an MVP. And that's another thing. Media gets to pick the awards, too. They get to pick the awards. And then they can set themselves up. The media can set themselves up because they pick who wins the award, to make comments about why the other person didn't win the award. Josh Allen won an MVP. I might not agree with it. I don't really have an opinion about it. I don't really care about awards. But everybody's going to be like, well, why didn't Lamar Jackson win it? And the media is going to eat that alive. Well, why do you think they didn't win it? I don't know. It sucks. It sucks so bad because sports media is really affecting social change. And I think that's my overall point. Sports media is affecting social change. Because what we're doing is we're making everything about prejudices, whether it's women not getting equal pay in sports, instead of saying, you make as much money as you bring in. You make a percentage of the money that you bring in. So if that's just every company. If we just say that, then it doesn't have to be a big deal. You make whatever percentage of the money that you bring in. You want to make more money, you bring in more money. If I'm a bartender and I want to make more tips, I gotta serve more drinks. I gotta find ways to get people to come see me. It's most industries that are in the sales industry and marketing industry. You want more money, you bring in more money. We make every single win for anyone about size. Well, Stroud's automatically better. We should have known that. Instead of being like, no, Bryce went to chaos. And Stroud went to like a great situation. Which I don't think anybody would say about Texans normally, but went to a great situation. We'd rather, instead of think intellectually, we would rather just say, see, I told you. Told you couldn't play. Told you. And it's just poor guys, man. Poor guys and I just hope that eventually we as a society will learn to, instead of me saying that you disagree with me, I'm automatically going to hate you because you're automatically racist or you're automatically sexist or you're automatically whatever because you think this way. Instead of saying, let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation. Why do you think that? I think it might be I freaking like Josh Allen because I'm from North Dakota or I don't know where he went to school, but that's why I like him. But because the media has been so in our ear about you're on a side. If you like this person, you're on a side. I'm gonna listen back to this, and I hope that what I'm saying makes sense because I got so like sidetracked because usually I'm so like much about data points. And this time I was kind of like just speaking at it, like shooting at the hip. So I'll listen back at this. Hopefully I actually put this out. I don't know if I will or not, but I think it's important. And if you got this far, I hope you just think, be kind, don't react, be right. Think, be kind, don't react, be right. All right. Other than that, great draft by the Panthers, and keep pounding.